Hi. Our Bible story this week is another story about Elijah. Now, do you remember how Elijah had gone and told King Ahab that there would be no more rain until they stopped worshiping idols? And that Elijah had gone and hid up by the brook Kerith in the mountains so that King Ahab and his soldiers couldn't find Elijah and kill him? And while he was up there, he could drink water from the creek. And who brought him food? Do you remember? Caw, 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 caw. Who brought him food? Birds, the ravens. Every morning and every night, they would bring bread and meat for Elijah. So he had something to eat the whole time he was up there. But King Ahab, was a bad man and a very stubborn man, and he did not change his ways. He kept on telling the people that they should worship the idols, and so no rain came. Well, when no rain comes, what happens to the creeks? They dry up, don't they? Well, that's what happened to the creek where Elijah was staying. After a long time with no rain, the creek started to dry up. And Elijah prayed and talked to God and said, God, the creek is drying up. You've been bringing me food from the ravens every day, but my water is drying up. What do you want me to do? And God told Elijah, go down to the little town of Zarephath, and there's a widow there who will help you. Now, do you guys know what a widow is? A widow is a woman whose husband has died. And that's always, always very sad. But I have to tell you that back then when Elijah was living, it was especially sad for a widow because women weren't allowed to have jobs the way that women have jobs now. So if she didn't have a husband, she didn't have any way of getting money. And she didn't have any way of getting food and taking care of her home. It was very, very hard for a widow at that time. So Elijah listened to God, and God said, there's a widow down in the little town of Zarephath who will take care of you. So because Elijah trusted God, he went down the mountain where Ahab could find him, but he went down the mountain and he went to the little town of Zarephath. And when he got there, Elijah started down towards the town. There's the town over there. And as he got there, he saw a lady and her boy outside the town, and they were picking up sticks. They made a little pile of sticks, and they were picking up more sticks. They were going to build a fire with the sticks. And Elijah saw them, and he came up to her, and he said, would you please get me a drink of water? Excuse me. Would you please get me a drink of water? And the woman started to turn around to go get Elijah a drink of water. And he called after her and he said, oh, and when you get me a drink of water, would you please bring me a little loaf of bread too so that I can have something to eat? Oh, she turned around and she was so sad. She wanted to help this kind man, but she said, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. All I have is a little bit of flour and a little bit of oil. And my son and we're gathering sticks right now to take home and build a little fire, and I'll make a little bread. And then after that, I have no more. I guess we're just going to have to die because we will have no more food. And Elijah said something surprising. He said, don't worry. Go home, make the bread, but make a little loaf for me first. And God has promised that if you do that, your flour will never run out, your oil will never run out, and God will take care of you. Well, she went home and she did what Elijah said. She built a fire with those sticks, mixed up the flour with the oil, probably some water, and mixed it up and made a little loaf of bread and cooked it in the oven with the fire from those sticks. And she pulled it out of the oven, and first of all, she gave some to Elijah. And then she gave some to her, and herself and her son. And then she looked in her pot of flour, and guess what? There was more flour. She had used it all up, but there was more. She looked in her little jar of oil, and she had poured the last out, but there was more. And you know what? Every single day for 3 years, that's a long time, there was no rain. Every single day, there was flour in her pot and oil in her jug, and she could make food for herself, her boy, and Elijah. God took care of them. He used ravens at first to take care of Elijah. Then he used a poor widow woman and her trust of God to take care of all 3 of them after that. Here's our special words for this week. So there's Elijah and the woman. She's getting ready to she's making the bread, and she's seeing that there's more, and there's her little boy watching. And the little boy is learning about how God can take care of them. And here's our words. He is our God, and we are under his care. He is our God, and we are under his care. That means he takes care of us. He loves us, and he wants us to trust him that he will take care of us. So that's our story for today. Bye.